is up, everybody? Welcome to Pillow Talk with Paul Goneau. My guest today is mother, advocate, activist, artist, photographer, comedian, and pretty much, anything under the sun. Krissia Valiente.
Hi everyone. Hello, Pillow. Nice to meet you.
Did I nail the name?
Yeah, it's Krissia Valiente, but my English is Krissia, so it's just like a little intonation. You said Krissia.
Okay.
Which is fine. It's only something I kind of...
Say it again properly.
Krissia.
Krissia.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was like Krissia.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like this is that. Have you seen Harry Potter?
A little bit.
A little bit. She's like, it's Leviosa, not Leviosa, or some
yeah.
shit like that. Hermione says that. That's what I feel like right now.
In Spanish, you kind of like say it as it's written. So that's how you would group the letters. It's I'll teach you Spanish one day.
Yeah, all right. I was actually thinking about doing like some sort of drinking game for people that watch the podcast.
Yeah.
I've been like, this is corny as fuck, but I've been like, oh, what am I gonna call the fans of the podcast? And I've been like, toying with bedheads.
Yeah, or pillowcases.
Is that all right? Pillowcases. Oh, that's a good one too. I like that.
Bedhead? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I like that.
But I've been maybe thinking of doing a drinking game, and that was gonna be like one of the things if I get the name right, because I've known people for years, and I get them on here, and it's like, I don't think I've ever... Some of them I never even call by their real name. You know what I mean? So and I'm trying to introduce them as, they want to be introduced, and I just... Most of the time I get it wrong.
I only know people by their social media handle. I'm like, I don't know who you are, but you're marinara sauce on, Instagram.
No, that's the time we're living in, though. That's why I just wanted to keep mine just plain and simple with my name.
Yeah. Well, that's your brand, right? Paul, the Pillow Talker.
At some point, I was going to do Paul Goneau is not funny. And then I saw someone else had it. And I was like, damn. I'm not trying to jack someone else's idea. Yeah.
He had a button that said Cliff Knight sucks.
Yeah.
So, obviously I bought it, and then every time people were like, Cliff Knight doesn't suck, and I'm like, I know, it works. It made people talk, but, yeah, it was, it's a hard thing to, brand yourself. I find that a lot of comedians aren't business savvy, so they don't even anticipate these sorts of, things to be I'm going to secure, a name online for myself exclusively, and it's Paul _Goneau 123.
Yeah. On YouTube it's good. I have it actually now. It's just Paul Goneau. But yeah, that kind of thing is definitely I want the Pillow Talk. I don't want to on YouTube. I'm Pillow Talk with Paul Goneau.
Yeah.
And eventually, when I thought of the name, and I had already gotten the sign, I got it through, my buddies, and they sponsor the podcast. And, actually, it's my buddy and his wife. They started the company.
Yeah.
But anyways, and so I was already committed to the name, and then once I looked deeper into this, I guess somebody else has the rights to the name Pillow Talk, but they haven't put out anything in, a while. So I'm just kind of waiting.
Is it a business? Have you registered it as a business? Because
no.
I've registered
but
Make
I'm
Me
selling
Laugh
merch.
TO as a business, and insofar as naming rights on certain social media, I've seen lots of celebrities have their names taken by fans, right? And so what happens is they'll petition the Instagram or YouTube to be hey, actually this is my business, it's registered, I sell merch, I have this podcast, these people are inactive, but yeah, you can make a case for yourself if you register it as a business. Because I know there's a show called Make Me Laugh, which is hosted by Mandy Goodhandy, and it's basically a if you can make her laugh competition.
Oh yeah, I do. They used to have it at 120
Diner, and after I started Make Me Laugh TO, I think she was forced to like write Make Me Laugh Live. So there is a distinction in terms of like the services we provide. But if it's another podcast, like I can totally understand why it's like, yeah, it's your baby.
So something I've been like meaning to ask you, what came first, photography or comedy? Like the camera or the microphone?
Okay, so I guess like my dad was into photography because there was always cameras in the house, and I'm an only child in. Well, I'm not. Well, I'm a middle child, but both my siblings died, so I became like the only child, and I was the one that took pictures of my parents. Like I don't think there's a lot of pictures of me as a kid, but like I took tons of pictures. Like I remember when I was 17, the first time I was able to get digital prints was like on a trip to Zimbabwe with my Mennonite youth group. Um, I shot on a film camera, and when I came back, they transferred them to a CD, and I was like, oh my god, this is the future. So definitely the camera. Um, and then comedy came from like trying to cope with like trauma and trying to have such a difficult like upbringing and not having like the context to understand that that's not normal. So like when I would try to relate to my peers, I would like share stories and they'd be horrified. They're like, "Oh my god, that's abuse," and I'm like, "Oh my god, no, not really, no, just joking." But the scary part about that was something big had to happen in order for me to like actually try comedy. So I have an 8-year-old. His name's Noah. So a part of that like came full circle because my brother was 7 when he died, and so when I got pregnant, there was a lot of parallels of like, what's gonna happen? Is your kid gonna die? And I'm like, what the fuck, guys? Like, I hope not. So after I gave birth, I had really really bad postpartum depression, and I was dating a comedy producer, and I remember going to his shows, paying for every show, being diligent, like being nice to all the comedians and like offering feedback. And then after the shows, I would like talk to him and I'd be like, I feel like I'm funnier than those people, or like I feel like I could do that. Like, would you put me on your show and blah 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 blah? And he was like, no, because yeah, you don't know what it takes. You don't know how hard it is. It's not what it looks like. It's not just a party. And I was like, yeah, I know. I was there. In any case, so we broke up. And I was like, you don't get to keep comedy just because we broke up. Like, I'm still going to go to comedy, like, clubs and be friends with these comedians that you introduced me to, because I think I'm better than you. So I took a class at Comedy Bar with Don Whitwell. It's called Comedy Girl. And so at the end of the course, you have like a grad show. And I was the host because I'm the best. And I also performed. And so after that, I started getting booked. I guess like people want newer comedians. Like when you're new, your friends really want to support you. So they'll come to shows, and then by like your 20th show, they're like, no, fuck you. I've memorized your set by heart. And then I was like, okay, well, I still want to go to shows. So essentially, I became a comic so I could go to shows for free. And while I was at shows, I realized there was missed opportunity for promoting artists as brands, promoting the venue, promoting the shows. So I started bringing my camera to shows, and then people started hiring me to take pictures. So I basically became a photographer to start getting paid to do comedy.
I mean, when I was getting the monthly show started, you were at the top of the list for sure, and like I really, like, I mean, we knew of each other, but we didn't really know each other very well. I just
Yeah.
always seen your stuff. It's like, because I'm the kind of guy, like, I remember early on, you were at some of, like, my very first open mics that I ever went to.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just kind of, I see people, I say hi, they're nice, they're friendly, I try to get a vibe, add them on social media, just, just kind of,
Network.
exactly. And you just were killing the photos, and I had gotten some people gave me some references and some, recommendations, I
Yeah.
guess. And I don't know, I definitely wanted you, but I didn't know you very well. And then you said yes, and yeah, I felt really good about that. I mean, I think you're the best that I've seen out of Toronto. You know
Well,
what I
I
mean?
think at the time I was the only one doing it, and I was doing it for free, and I was showing up, and my commitment behind that was to make it a business, because I didn't know if people understood the value of not even the pictures, but the documentation of history. History for comedians hasn't been glamorous, especially in Canada. There isn't even a star rating system that we can say like okay, Martha Chavez has won like the Canadian Comedy Award, but it shows like do they are they acknowledged as such?
Mm-hmm.
Like how do we determine that we're doing well as artists, as stand-up comedians? Is it because we get booked on Yuck Yucks? Is it because we do Winnipeg Comedy Festival? And so like these are kind of like moving targets, and I just wanted to like document it because I was like, first of all, yes, my like photography skills are improving. I did take classes, and like I said, like I grew up with a camera in my hand, so it was always just instinctual, but I wanted to be able to manipulate the image so that I got the picture that was in my mind and not the picture that I could capture, because people are like, oh, just take a picture, and I'm like, no, I have to like see where the wind is blowing, and then like get the right lighting, and then like feel your aura, and like it's more than just that. And so as a comedian, I also understand the thought process behind when you're performing. It's kind of like, okay, what is the apex of like what I want to capture? And it's like the punchline.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to like gather the rhythm of the comics style, then I have to wait to like release the shutter when they like say the punchline. And at times when it's not a very like booming show, I have to wait for laughter to let my shutter go off so I don't interrupt the flow of like this quieter show, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these are all like tiny things that I'm like, people don't know yet. And I see more like more photographers coming out, and I really appreciate that producers are seeing the value of that. But I have all this content that is like mwah, mwah, like if someone dies, like I'm just like that's awful. But like so basically my project now is to release all of this content in a meaningful way so that people can use it to promote themselves and network, and like even do a spotlight on you on the Make Me Laugh Tio website with the pictures I've taken of you, promote your show, promote yourself, promote your podcast, and not have to pay for it in a way that I get paid for the work I do in for comedians, like to benefit the community.
So when you're taking photos, are you more of, because I know some photographers, a lot of people say they're photographers just because they take a lot of photos. I don't know. I like it. Are you taking, because when you send me like say 30 photos for a show, are there 300 that
Yeah,
like
so
you don't get to see?
in the beginning, I didn't know the format. Like I didn't know what I was doing, first of all. Second of all, I didn't understand comedy as well as I do now in terms of like what's a good picture for social media or a poster or to give the producer. So I did have like 300 shots. what ended up happening was I would send all of them to the person that hired me, and they would pick like the worst picture that, in my opinion.
Mm.
So I had to, even at this point, I should edit myself more. And also, I should have added, I was behind the, or in front of the camera before I was behind it. So I learned how to like what rigorous effort it takes to pose. And then, like, it's half your job and half my job to get the picture. And so when I see a good composed picture, it doesn't mean you're gonna like the way you look. And so people will like judge themselves without seeing how great the picture is.
Mm-hmm.
So the ones I send you are the ones that I think are meaningful, capture the moment, and I would be proud of you to post my work.
Mm-hmm.
So even now I'm like, I just got myself an iPad, so I can take like Photoshop courses and I can like edit and develop a style that is uniquely my own, because I will need to differentiate in this like growing market. People are photographers, great photographers, but they haven't spent 3 years in sticky basements, you know, not getting paid to shoot open micers for practice. Like, I guess that's my edge. That's the edge I have. I'm lonely.
How long have you been doing comedy?
I would say 4 years, only because I don't remember. Well, okay, 2017
Okay.
is just a year. Sorry, no. 2015. 2015, I sort of started going to shows, and then I think 2016 I took that class. And I say 4 years because like Zoom comedy is kind of like, so I've done 4 years of stand-up and 1 year of Zoom. It's very different, and I'm just getting back into performing because I was doing Mommy Needs a Drink with Tara.
Mm-hmm.
And just Mommy needs a break.
Oh, like, you're not doing it anymore?
Yeah, because our last show was on Halloween at Comedy Bar, and it was so much work for very little payoff. So I think for my perspective is I would rather let people who are doing good saturate the market, and then if I have something to say, be part of their shows. But like Tara is going to Ryerson University to do social work.
Mm-hmm.
She has 2 kids that she takes care of like 50% of the week. And she's also like a single mom that has an active sex life. So
She's busy.
she's very busy. Her mind is in other places. And I was like, I'm not producing any of the shows. She's like, no problem. You could just be my co-host. And as a co-host, I feel responsible for the success of the show.
Yeah, still, you're carrying some weight for sure.
And I'm like, my responsibility is to say, you know, we need to take a break. Like, I can't actually sell tickets for you, but I can support you in your time of rest. And I think everyone should take time to rest, man. Like, don't you feel burnt out sometimes?
I'm just trying to figure out where to begin. Like you said, you kind of got into comedy, you know,
because I was sad.
Because you were down, and that was helping you. And like, I got into it for a similar reason. Like, I'm kind of getting older, and I had always, like, earlier on in my life, it was just, I was working at 13. I was living to survive. Like, I was on survival mode, you know. And then I had a good opportunity come up after I, you know, wanted to kill myself.
Right.
And started some therapy, had a good opportunity come up, did a pre-apprenticeship for culinary, did really well, and then got basically like a scholarship to Humber. And did that, and then once that happened, I kind of had, you know, roots somewhere.
Yeah.
And I started in that field. I'm still in the field, I'm still a chef.
Wow,
But then, you know, once survival mode kind of, you know, was gone, I could kind of really focus on what I wanted. But, you know, I got into, well, actually, I guess by the time I was in college, I had stopped doing drugs and really partying and stuff. But I was in a relationship, and the girl that I was dating, or the woman that I was dating, just had a kid, so I was kind of in this stepfather mode, and I was kind of living for the two of them for a while. We ended up getting engaged, then shit didn't work out. And so for like a long time, I was never really able to like focus on something that I wanted to do. And earlier on, it was music, and then it just became like money's always been an issue in my life. So, comedy, I don't want to say is like some plan B, because it wasn't. It actually wasn't even on. I don't know.
I don't think it's anyone's like plan A.
I had never really thought of it, because like in school, during like presentations, and you can kind of see it sometimes, like when I record myself, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of like, going back and forth there. I seem nervous. I can see it, and I watch it, and I try to change those things. But like that's how it was throughout school.
Yeah.
I wasn't like someone who enjoyed being the center of attention. I liked being funny.
Yeah.
And then when this relationship didn't work out, I was like, I want to fucking do something for me. And
feel again.
Kind of went into comedy, and it's been good, but it's been rough. Like there's, especially since I've started this show, like I didn't have a November show. I don't know if anybody noticed. Probably not, but I didn't have one, and so like there's things going on in my mind. I was like, I sold out 2 of my first 3 shows, and the third one was like basically sold out. And then I guess a couple days before the show, they added like 30 more tickets because capacity restrictions changed, right? And so then I didn't sell it. I sold the most tickets I did the last show, but I didn't sell it out because I don't know, they were just added late, know? And well, that's the excuse that I'm using. And that's so fair. Like since then, I've just kind of, it's so hard. I just don't think I never really feel like I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I can always pick apart shows and things, and then it's like, if I don't hear back from, the person that's running the show, or it's like I almost didn't even get December.
Heart crushing, for sure. You're like trying your best, and it feels like, why am I even trying at all?
Yeah.
Because like it's not about people being against you, it's people being for themselves. And that's something I had to learn, so I wouldn't hold grudges or be like, I'm never going to take your picture if you're mean to me. Like, yeah, I'll take your picture and I'll charge you 3 times for it. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that you're getting down on yourself for doing not as good as you wanted to. Because you're doing so much better than not having tried at all. So, like, the part of comedy I think that people struggle with is the momentum to have the longevity. Mm-hmm. Because there are so many pits, like Mommy Needs a Drink in the main room, October 30th, like sold 6 tickets. Chris Locke called one of our audience members, which was 15% of the audience, the R word. She started crying. I had to like talk her off the ledge by giving her a joint, and like outside she's like, you gotta understand, I have mental issues. And I'm like, girl, me too. Like I was the girl crying at comedy clubs because my producer boyfriend wouldn't put me on his shows with people like fucking Nick Reynolds and Big Norm and Chris Robinson. Like I met those guys because of him, but I'm not there because of him. I said to him, I've never used your name to get ahead in comedy. I would never even like associate myself with your brand of comedy because it's like, ugh. It's very different. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I want to be able to express all sides of me, even if it doesn't make money. Like, I hate that that's our like, yeah, and like the people who are invested, like the club owners and the comics that are playing the shows, they're not putting their best foot forward to like make you a success. So it kind of feels like you have, like my ex with my kid, I was having a lot of trouble. He's going through like growing up phases. And I was like, I don't want you to be a stepdad. I don't even want you to be my boyfriend. I just need like 2 against 1. It's basically like literally 2 against 1 survival mindset. So I having a co-host, I was like, okay, maybe. And then I was like, Tara, maybe you shouldn't even co-host. Maybe you should get someone else to produce. Like producing and hosting is like double penetration. Like I don't know. It hurts so good, but like you're not like it's not sustainable.
There's so much anxiety attached to it too.
Because as soon as the show starts, as a producer, your job is over. That's when the host's job starts, because you got to make sure that this show itself is a success. The producer's job is to get people in the door. So if you have to do both of those jobs, it's like, I'm just going to shoot myself in the foot, and then afterwards, everyone's going to see the shotgun in my mouth. Like,
so do you feel that, like, there should be some amount of responsibility held on comedians to bring some people out, or?
To be fair, what I learned from producing is that there's always like a bringer comic. So that's like the newer comic, the people that you would expect to bring people out. So it's on the producer's end to book the people that they think will promote the show. And to give them that expectation. But then also know that you're going to book some people that have absolutely no desire or interest to retweet you. So I don't think it's the responsibility of the artist in terms of like their job is to show up on time and make people laugh. It's not their job to sell tickets to your show unless you've made it so.
Okay.
Because some people will be like, you get all your ticket sales. So, like, if I invite 15 friends and they all pay $10, which I think nobody should be charging $10. You should be charging $20 for your shows. Like, if people can pay $20 for 2 drinks, they can pay $20 for an hour and a half show. Like, if you don't have $20, I'm sorry, but there are free shows out there. But then I would get like $150 in my pocket. You know, it gives people incentive, but I know not all business models are like that sustainable. And that's why I'm like, Make Me Laugh TO is, to be honest, I've said this before, I don't want to be a photographer. Like, I don't want to be even a stand-up comic because so many other people do it so much better. I'm not looking to compete with the best. I know that that's not what I'm good at. What I'm good at is being me and showing up and doing that. And how can I make that make me money? And that's what I'm trying to like garner, is where people are having blind spots and then offering like connections to support or like give resources, even like for mental health. Because like, that's a part that people don't see. The stress, all the details that you've described when you were, I was like, hey, are you burnt out? You were like, gah. You like gave me like a grocery list of like what has happened, but you didn't mention any emotions. We're taught to repress that so much that when people are like, how are you doing? And it's like, I went to the store. Yeah, but how are you doing? Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, there's generally just, it's like, you're good, or
and,
like,
yeah, like
you're great, you know?
The other day, I was at Comedy Bar, and the bartender's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm heartbroken. And they were like...
Yeah. Shit, man.
And I was
Nobody
like...
really wants to know when they're, you know, saying
oh my
that.
God. And it was so bad because it made me feel like shit. Because I'm like, hey, I'm vulnerable here. But at the same time, it made it uncomfortable for this person to be doing their job. And I'm like, maybe this isn't the place to be righteous. Like,
it's kind of funny though. Like it's some part of you must have been like, that's kind of funny.
Well, no, actually it wasn't at Comedy Bar. It was at Free Play, because then afterwards, when I paid up, she was like, can I offer you anything else? And I was like, a new heart? I was like, can I just make you laugh? That's what I need. I need the laugh. I don't need friends. So yeah, how are you feeling, Paul?
You know, I'm all right.
If this were a feeling...
Stressed. Christmas is coming up, so I'm trying to focus on that.
What do you like about Christmas?
I don't know.
Are you the put the Christ in Christmas people? Is that your friend look?
No, not at all. No, that's next door. I feel like it's kind of like, okay, so the owners of the house next door, I guess, don't get along with the landlord.
And they put it on the edge of their property line?
Yeah, like fully facing, like I feel like it's for them. No, I'm definitely not that. And I kind of grew up not really, I was like raised in foster homes and shit. And so like Christmas was very, there wasn't a lot.
They tried to make it as like non-special as possible.
They were sprinkled in throughout my childhood. There were a couple good ones where it's like I was with family this year or whatever the case, you know. Usually the ones with my Nana were really good. But I don't know, I never really liked Christmas until a few years ago. And I don't know. I'm kind of getting into it. I usually have a couple people over for dinner, play some games, or I think last year we watched fucking Wonder Woman or some shit. I don't know.
I put up my lights
Christmas
already.
Is alright. Yeah.
I put up my little tree. People are like, it's too soon. And I'm like, it's when I have time. Like, it's not too soon because it's going to be too late when I have time again to be able to like, it stresses me out because I feel like when you're a parent, there's a lot more expectations. Like, your kids hear about stuff. So, like, at his dad's house, where he lives with his stepmom and his stepbrothers, Santa Claus exists. There's an elf on the shelf. He appeared 2 weeks ago. There's, like, the Tooth Fairy and Bubblegum and Fairies. At my house, I'm Santa Claus. I'm the Tooth Fairy. Like, I give him a very realistic, like, perspective because his dad was raised with that fantasy kind of thing, and I wasn't afforded that. And it's not like I'm taking that away from my son, but I'm being myself.
Yeah.
Like, if he were to find out that I was lying or something, like I feel like being honest is better than traumatizing your child.
So was Christmas, like, growing up for you kind of like the same for me, where it was just like
Well, okay, my parents tried to buy me with love, so, like, I often say I was spoiled with neglect because, like, presents can't hug me. So I never had that affection or that, like, a connection or attachment, but I had all this stuff, and I was so resentful. I remember, like you were saying, you tried to kill yourself, and I often, too, have tried, and I would give all my stuff away. Like, every 3 years, I would give everything, like, my jewelry, my electronics, like, my iPods and everything, because I was like, I'm ending this. So I was very dramatic about it. Like, I didn't appreciate things. So now Christmas is more meaningful, in which I'm like, it's not about the presents. It's about the time you spend putting up the tree. It's about, like, cooking or, like, even seeing people you haven't seen with the excuse of it being the holidays. Like, I find that sometimes I feel like I don't want to bother people, but if I'm like, hey, I'm calling you because it's Christmas, like, that gives me the permission to be needy. Yeah, and I'm learning that through, like, friendship as well. Like, we have this tradition that we haven't been able to do, where our friends, like, wrap a Christmas gift that's, like, a pretty legit gift with, like, layers and layers of wrapping paper, and then you have to try to open it with oven mitts on, and whoever opens it the fastest gets to keep whatever it is, and it's, like, a legit gift. So, like, we haven't been able to do that, and I just remembered that we're going to be able to do that this year. I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
Were you able to do anything during COVID, or were you just, like, isolating?
Yeah, like, well, yeah, I started the podcast, and originally it was really hard getting people to want to come here. Like, I had a lot of people like, oh yeah, I'll come, and then things just weren't getting better. Everyone was expecting things to get better, and nothing was getting better, so it was just, oh, hold on, I'll reschedule, and I started doing Muay Thai, and even through, up until the third lockdown, Like, they'd straight up just remained open and, like, covered up the windows, and everyone was like, all right, we have a WhatsApp group, all right, if you want to come train. And they would always, like, post when they would be at the gym and shit. And so basically it was like, I was just doing that throughout the whole thing, except for, like, the last lockdown. And, I kind of avoided doing, it sucked because I started last year and I was like, I was writing, my whole thing was like, all right, I'm going to write. And it might not seem like a lot, but I was like, I'm writing a new joke every day, like a joke a day. And I got to like March and I had like so many new jokes, and then shit happened and I just kind of slacked. I was like, well, I'm not going to be performing. And then it's like we were talking about, it's waves, like the peaks and valleys with comedy are so...
It's the momentum that you, like, so I'm learning that as, like, someone whose brain doesn't cooperate with my body, I have to, or I want to, I should, just sort of go with it. So, like, if I feel like I'm having a moment of, like, ample energy and, like, I feel like these next few days will be that, I try to do as much as I can. And then I know eventually I will burn out, and then I will have to, like, rest for 3 days on the couch. So if you know and you prepare for that, even if it's not that drastic, you can afford yourself, you know, the hustle, the grind, and also the, like, self-care that it requires to do that over and over and over again. And I was talking to NOJ last night about this on their Instagram live. I said, behind hard work is honest work. Because some people do all of the grind and none of the, like, introversion, this introspection that happens when you evolve or you grow or you improve. Because you're not the same. Like, you're never the same after experiences, right? Mm-hmm. Like, the fact that you were feeling a way about your shows going a certain way is going to inform the way you produce shows in the future. Mm-hmm. So in so far as you can criticize yourself or critique yourself or give yourself feedback, you have to do the opposite as well to that extent. Celebrate yourself and give yourself your flowers and give yourself the time to, like, enjoy what has come out of what you may think wasn't the best, you know? Because then it gives you perspective to keep going, and it doesn't, like, weigh on you that you have to keep feeling that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And I feel like to some degree, like, I know that, but like, another part of me...
You, like, resist it?
Yeah, it's like having the two fucking things in your ear,
so,
you know?
in therapy, when I was, like, coming out of rehab and, like, I would tell my therapist, I'd be like, I don't want to get better. It's more work than staying sick. And the fact that I had resolved to feel bad for the rest of my life because I wasn't capable or not have the capacity at the time to do the work was something that, even if I just had that outlet to say, I don't want to be here, I don't want to do this, and you're doing it, it's like, but you're doing it. And it's like, but I don't want to. And it's like, but you're already doing it, Paul. Which is interesting because you're gaslighting yourself into a previous version of someone you're not anymore.
Yeah.
Because maybe previous Paul would have, you know, done self-destructive things or gone into, like, you know, despair. And so you're now deciding what it is that you want to do for the first time. And for myself, for sure, this is my transition to be like, I tried to help my parents. I moved in with them during COVID, and the house was, like, in disrepair. Like basically, I'm a bisexual that uses power tools. Like, I want to spackle your walls. Like, I could do it. I could do anything. I did the plumbing. But I realized that they don't want my help. Like, as much as I can repair the house and fix this and fix that, I will never repair the relationship that my parents failed to establish with me.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's my job to consolidate those feelings and acknowledge that it's painful. Like, I'm grieving these living people.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sad to me. Because, like, I thought it was my fault. You know, I was like, if I'm just better, if I'm just this. But it's not. Like, and I've gaslit myself to the point where it was like, it's my job. But it's not. It's their job, too. So, I feel like the last thing that I need to do is let them go, and then I'll be free. Which is, like, so painful.
It doesn't necessarily mean they're gone, you know?
No, and that's the thing that I'm trying to come to terms with. It's like, it just means that I'm giving them the chance, or I'm giving me the chance to have something different. Like, it's not going to work like this, and that doesn't mean that it's not going to work, but I can stop trying. Like, I can put my energy somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying about your past, where you were, like, living for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my siblings died when they were young, and I was left to mourning parents. So when I lost them, I lost my parents too. And to grow up feeling ungrateful for the best life I've been offered has taken a really big toll on me. And I've just self-destructed because no one was there to save me. And it's like, no one is coming.
Mm-hmm.
No one is going to come to tell you what to do. And so I felt like if I couldn't do that with my parents, at least I can do it for my son. Because I don't want him around people with those behaviors. Even if it is his grandparents. And it's not like I'm lying to him. Like, he's witness to it. It's not like people say something and then act another way and you only believe their words, right? So, and the worst part is I think that if when I leave, it'll get worse and it'll be my fault. But it's never been my fault. Like, I don't know.
No, that's, I think, just a part of it all. And why I relate to you a lot. And I feel you. And I think also being, well, obviously, you know, you're strong, you're ambitious, you're doing these things. I think a lot of, and I mean, you're carrying way more weight than me. Like, I don't have a child. You got a lot more projects going on.
It's not the oppression Olympics.
No, I'm just saying, like, it seems on the outside that, like, oh, like, you're all these good things, you're super confident and stuff like that. Because I get I'm sure a bit of it too. Like, I feel like I do, and it's like, I'm not. I'm like, there's very little confidence in me, even though I'm doing this podcast and all this, like.
It's like the fake it till you make it, and mm-hmm. then the part where you acknowledge you're doing it. You're like, it's not fake. It's because you weren't able to embody it in an authentic way before. Like, I would drink to mm-hmm. become the person that I could blame for the successes or the failures. And then I'd be like, oh, that's not me, that's drunk Kay. But then when I stopped drinking, she was still there. So, like, the concept of, like, evolving doesn't mean that, like, you fix yourself. It just means you move on with the knowledge that you can deal with it when it comes up. So, like, now the, like, not drinking to, like, handle, like, I have unstable emotional personality disorder, which is, like, the new word or the new term for borderline personality disorder. I feel like it's worse. Like, calling me emotionally unstable is, like, yes, but also there's more to it. It's, like, physical pain, depression, chronic illness. You know, I don't remember what I look like sometimes, and so, like, I'll feel confident and I'll dress up and, like, my tits are out, and then all of a sudden I'm having like an anxiety attack in the bathroom, and then I'm like, get it together, and then like go do a shot at the bar. And so that doesn't happen anymore. And it's weird because now I have all this time to do. I'm like, oh fuck, what I just smoke, which by the way is harm reduction. I'm a big advocate for harm reduction. I used to spend so much time blaming myself for not quitting smoking, thinking I wasn't like strong enough or serious enough about my success. And I was like, I'm alive. Like, bottom line, that's all I have to do every day.
I'd say you're doing pretty good too.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? I don't think you're scraping the bottom, you know what I mean? You got a lot of stuff going for you. And honestly, I really admire, even just like, before you started doing the stuff, we didn't really know each other. I'm being totally real here, not trying to like put you over on anybody, but like I just really have always admired how open you've been with your struggles, because I'm a person who's dealt with that shit pretty much my whole life, and it's not exactly like I'm a closed book. I feel like I'm fairly honest, but there's just certain things that I just generally avoid. And I was kind of
if I would have avoided saying yes to you because I knew that I could have emotions, we wouldn't have had this connection. Or whomever might watch this won't get the insight that they're lacking in their life. So if this is who I am, thank you for giving me space to show up as I am.
Oh man, you don't have to thank me. You don't have to thank me at all.
It takes a lot. Like, people are like, you're so strong, and I'm like, I don't want to be. I don't want to be strong. I want to be soft. I want to be taken care of. I want to be desired. Like, is there so much that we put on, like, people to manage that resilience is seen as a good thing? When resilience literally is being able to withstand trauma. And it's like, okay, well, I don't ever want to be called resilient again. Like, maybe celebrate it for it, but I don't want to be resilient. I want to be powerful. Yeah, I'm not resilient. I'm powerful.
For real, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's it. That's what I've learned today. That's my breakthrough. That's my Oprah moment.
Your Oprah moment. Some serious stuff.
And you know what the thing is? Like, even if I wanted to, it's part of my disorder to, like, be this way. So, like, if I hate myself to the point where I'm like, I don't want to be this way, it, like, defeats the purpose of my life. Like, I can't change what makes me if that's, like, I don't want to say God, but if that's what God made me to be. It's like someone being like, I don't want to dance, but I'm the best dancer. And it's like, or like people who, like I was telling you, Robin Williams is one of my favorite comedians because he was just himself. And people are like, oh, that's zany. And I'm like, he's mentally ill. Like, and when he would do like stand up, he would go for hours and hours with like no rhyme or reason, and it would just be like impressions or accents or like all of that. And I was like, maybe I should take an acting class because I have so many emotions that I can like get triggered into that I could be like, ooh, like I know certain things that trigger me, like my parents, for sure. So if I had to cry in a scene, I'd be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if that's what a lot of people do. I never really thought about that kind of... I don't know. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. I cry. But, like, it's hard for me to... Well, like, when I see people make themselves cry, I
Oh,
don't know.
no.
I feel weird about it, you know? And it's like, how can someone do that? But
Well,
you're making it
crying-
make sense.
Crying is a natural response to an extreme emotion. People cry from laughter. People cry from frustration. People cry from happiness.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it depends what the cry is about. But for myself, like commercials with puppies, or like movies like the Ramona and Beezus movie. I don't know if
I haven't seen it.
I was on an airplane watching the movie, and I'm like this in my like blanket, just like sobbing, and my friends are like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I'm like, "Their cat died."
What is it? Is that what's the saddest movie you've ever seen?
The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Oh my god, you know what it's about, right?
No.
So there's these two young boys that would meet at a fence. One of them was like dressed like upper class, and the other one was dressed in striped pajamas. So the boy on this side of the fence was in a concentration camp, and the boy on this side of the fence was the son of one of the generals that was hired to exhume the bodies. And so the little boys became attached and would meet every day at the same time to play. And then one day, the boy didn't show up. And it's like, oh my God, because we know what happened to him.
Mm.
And then the other little boy has to like come to the realization that it's his dad's responsibility. So it's pretty sad because like any sort of like children... Like, Little Women makes me cry because the one girl gets, like, scarlet fever and dies. But, yeah, for sure. And then also, Ramona and Beezus when their cat dies.
Have you ever seen Marley and Me?
With, that guy?
It's, Owen Wilson. And
Yeah.
I think it's Jennifer Aniston.
Maybe.
I want to say. Yeah. That's, for me, probably, like...
The saddest?
Yeah, and I remember the first time I watched it, I wasn't really... I'm actually a fairly big Owen Wilson fan. I think he's underrated.
He's hilarious.
And so I just watched it for him because I saw it was him and I haven't seen it, you know? So, yeah, and I kind of, you know, as I'm watching it, the tears are building up and then things start to happen and then it's full-on ugly cry, you know? And this was a while ago, like around the time it came out, probably like 10 years or so ago, and so I show my girlfriend and I'm like, all right, like it was good. I watched on my own. I got it all out. We're going to be good. And like I just started crying earlier because I knew the things that were going to happen. And
your girlfriend didn't
and
cry.
it's a great movie. Don't get me wrong. Like there's quite a few movies. I even cried in like Logan. You know, have you seen that?
No, it's about Wolverine, right?
Yeah, and at one point, like, he basically has... There's this little girl who's, like, a mini him, and I think she's, like, a clone or something or whatever, or has his DNA, and he's basically her dad, and at the end, like, as he's dying, she calls him, like, Daddy.
Aww.
And it was just, like, this moment, and I'm like... It's just such a serious movie, and I just... I don't know, but for sure, Marley and Me. I don't understand people that get, I don't know, you saw, like, I have a bunch of movies. I have even more in my bedroom. But I can't bring it to me to, like, buy movies that make me cry.
Because, you know, well, okay, so I was watching Queer Eye, which is, like, a show on Netflix, and it's a tearjerker for sure. Because they, like, make over people's lives, and it's just not, like, a physical thing. Like, they really change these people. Mm-hmm. And I was crying, and the person I was watching it with was like, why do you subject yourself to this? Like, why? Like, I've seen that episode 40 times. And I'm like, watch this episode. And I was like, it's releasing the pressure valve. Like, I feel like, isn't that why, like, guys play video games? Like, I know that, like, the appeal of watching things that make me cry is probably, yeah, like, trashy TV even, like, Love Island. Like, that's like, oh, I need to get my, like, dits out. Like,
so you look for it.
For sure.
You do, eh?
I crave it.
See, I'm kind of, like, the opposite. Unless, like, I don't hunt it down, and I don't necessarily think it's bad if it does make me cry, but I definitely don't hunt it down. That's interesting though.
Yeah.
I get it.
Or like, what's that movie, Sunshine, Little Miss Sunshine with
Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a movie I saw in movie theaters because it was so sad that I was like, I want to cry to a big screen. It was so sad. The friggin' grandpa dies. Sorry, spoilers.
No, it's old. I feel like people saw it. I also saw this, I had like a girlfriend throughout my days at some point show me this. She was like, oh, this is my favorite Christmas movie. And I'm like, obviously Home Alone's my shit. You know, I kind of don't even look at that as a Christmas movie. But anyways, she shows me this movie called The Christmas Shoes. Have you seen it?
Maybe.
I can't even really remember. Like, there's someone that's sick throughout the movie, and this person could possibly turn into, like, an orphan and not have any parents or anybody to take care of them. And, like, at the end, like, the people die and all this bad stuff happens. And there was, like, no resolution. Like, this is not how Christmas movies are. This is, like, the reason I don't really consider Die Hard a Christmas movie, because I'm like, no, like, Christmas movies have a certain vibe to them, you know, and they have to make... They can't be sad. You can't have a sad Christmas movie. Like,
that's funny. Maybe I'll watch that on purpose.
The Christmas Shoes?
Yeah, The Christmas Shoes. I'll look it up.
Brutal. I think they made a part 2, and it's like, what are you doing? Who's
Christmas
watching the
Shoes
second
sadder.
one? Yeah, yeah, right?
Now even more sad. With more tears. Oh.
Alright, yo. So I have these snacks that are from Japan. I'm running low. I have a new pack. There's a couple left. You can try them out.
Did you go to Japan?
I did not go to Japan. I've never been out of North America. Yeah.
Who went to Japan?
No, it's just like a monthly subscription box that you can like order from Japan.
Honestly,
they send you like a bunch of stuff. Yeah. This is like the end of this box.
Sick. Whenever my mom goes
dope.
to El Salvador, she gets a request. Like, I give her $10. I'm like, just treats. Can I eat here?
Yeah.
I already am here.
Do it all right.
I chose something soft for my... It's like dill pickle.
It says cabbage taro.
Disgusting. I like dill pickle better. But it tastes like that, no?
Yeah, like an all dressed kind of. It's really tangy.
This one?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Summer festivals in Japan are a hot spot for tasty Japanese food. A little bit of sauce. Light crunch of cabbage taro. Wow.
Not big on cabbage, but they're okay.
These taste like the Cheetos Puffs if they were like for Mexicans. What did you get? The popcorn? No. Mm-hmm. No.
Is that what it is?
No.
No.
This one. Is it a cow?
I can't open it. My hands are all greasy from the damn...
You gotta grip it.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, I was like, they're gonna fly everywhere.
Where are they, though?
Not here, sorry. Hey, was this good?
Oh, yeah, it was. I never do the drinks on here because I don't really know how to... Like, I don't want to bring cups in here and then have some spillage or something, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they always have, like, cool...
I like trying different drinks. The only time I failed at trying a new drink was I got, with a shawarma, a kefir drink. You know what kefir is?
Kefir?
It's like a tart yogurt. Kefir?
Kefir? No.
Kefir. These taste like cassava chips.
What's that? They're okay.
It's like a root vegetable.
Maybe it's one of these summer surprise snacks. There's a couple with fucking question marks on them, so.
How much do you pay for this box? I'm gonna order.
I don't even know. Maybe like $40-$50, something like that.
I'm gonna cancel my Amnesty International donation. And I'm gonna order this snack box. Will make a lot more sense for my...
These are decent. They're really mellow flavoring. All right.
Masala.
Let's start off the top five.
Okay, no.
And why not do... Okay, so... Did you ever do, like, dance?
Okay. Like I said, my parents never took an interest in me. So I was, like, in ballet as a kid, but I never continued. And, like you said, I don't like being the center of attention. So, like, even though I'm good at stuff, I'm like, don't look at me. I do want to take more dance classes, like I have as an adult. But I'm not very good at it. Like, I'm not good at choreography. Like, TikTok dances, I cannot learn.
Yeah, no, I've never really been much of a dancer. I would say, like... I don't know, maybe it's just... Mostly the music, like I can mosh, and I like
Mosh.
I like, you know,
It is
kind
an
of
art.
like mobbing and moving my hand at a hip hop concert or something like that. But like, I've never really been big into dancing, so I'm not too great at it. I think I had like a brief period in my life, maybe like 7 to 8 years in my 20s, early or late teens, you know.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you would be a break dancer.
Well, I did like a lot of like raving, but I have like raving, and it's you were saying like, oh, you love dancing, but you're not really into clubs. Like,
yeah.
We were talking before, and like my thing is like it's not that I don't like dancing. I don't mind it, but there's a lot of like my club days are directly attached to like
Drug days.
my drug days. Yeah, and once I stopped, it was like the appeal
You're like,
of
what
it.
is my body?
I even like promoted. There was this rave company called Destiny, and I promoted for them for a bit, and it got to like the point where there was two things that happened, and one of them was like promoting at this club, and I hadn't done. Okay, so let's first off, the last time I did E or Molly or whatever fucking MDMA, whatever they're calling it nowadays, was at like a hotel party, and I did 3 at once. And then, like, I was just kind of, you know, chilling out. We were all yeah, it was a bit. I was using, I was...
It was your tolerance.
Yeah. And, well, so I thought. And, like, at some point, I was just having a good time, and at some point someone comes up to me and is like, yo, Paul, what's up with your eye? Legitimately, I'm not kidding. Went in the bathroom, my left eye was like this. Like, back and
flickering?
forth. I didn't even know. It was going back and forth, like twitching, like some sort of fucking spasm and shit. And so for the rest of the night, I was walking around like this. And then, so that was the last time I did it. And I was still promoting for this rave company. And so I would be like flyering at like 6 a.m. Seeing all these jacked people come out of these clubs and like handing them flyers and shit. And be like,
6 a.m.?
Yeah.
When the party's done?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and they'd all be coming out just fucking grinding their mouth and just you know, high as shit. And I had just like a realization where it's like, oh, that's what I looked like when I was doing shit. Like, I don't want to be like that. And so, like, since I stopped doing drugs, going to clubs and it just hasn't really been appealing, but...
Well, even now, like, COVID days, I just find that people are at different levels of comfort. Like, I feel like people, as a generalization, humans are unpredictable. So when you've locked all of us up, we have different reactions to being let out. Some people are just, like, wiling out. And I'm like, no thanks. I'm going to let it die down. I'm going to wait a couple years.
A couple years.
It's just, like, even I've gotten to the age where, like, young people annoy me. I'm like, put on a jacket.
Wait,
like,
how old are you?
I'm 35.
Oh, shit. I'm 35, too. Nice.
I'm not that old. I mean, I'm on the wrong side of 35, but that's fine.
All right, so top 5 songs to dance to. Do you want to go first?
Oh, can we do like this?
I mean,
are you going to tell your...
Yeah, I'll do
5?
mine, and then you can do yours. Or
Okay, you do yours first.
All right. So, yeah, like I said, not really a big dancer, but I'm trying to think of, like, when I cook a lot, you know? And, you know, whenever I'm cleaning or cooking, I have music on, and I'm generally, like, dancing around. But it could really be to anything. Like, I could, like, I'm weird. I could dance to like Limp Bizkit, just like funky dance, you know,
Yeah.
like Carlton dance or whatever the case may be. In middle school, actually, this I'm just trailing off a whole bunch here, but my school won a Much Video Dance Party.
Sick. I've always wanted.
Yeah, and so DJ came and we had this thing in the gym, and
The
they
big
played.
screen?
They played one rock song, and it was "Ball with the Ball" by Kid Rock, and everyone started moshing, and then they made an announcement like we couldn't mosh, and they didn't play another heavy song, and then at the end of the fucking the dance. They announced that this would be their last song, and it was like Backstreet Boys. So we started a mosh pit to Backstreet Boys. Yeah. So that's where I'm coming from. But
That's funny.
one that I would say gets played out, and anytime I hear it, like people that know me would just kind of look at me, because usually I'm like, I'm just gonna hang out. I don't really drink, but I'll like nurse one drink for the whole night and just kind of like lean, unless there's a whole bunch of us. Like I can get into it, but. Yeah, dance is not super my thing, but when Everybody by Backstreet Boys comes on, it's almost impossible
Something takes
not
over
to
your
dance.
body.
For real, though.
Backstreet's back, alright.
I'm going to see them next year. I got tickets. Shit.
Alright.
Do you actually know the real dance? Or
So
you just
here's
making
the
it up?
thing.
I know.
I feel like I even inherited some dyslexia from my mom's side. But I feel like no one ever told me this shit. Like, I had to always, like, find stuff out on my own. And so I think that's why I'm bad at choreography. Because, like, I'll memorize stuff, and then when I do it in the mirror, I'm like, is this... Like, it's... like, that's what you're supposed to do, is dance in front of a mirror so that you can see. And I always, like... So, even for, like, freestyles, I like freestyling. I can't reproduce the same dance twice, but... I feel like the Backstreet Boys is that's a very heavy top 5.
Yeah, they and there's a few Backstreet Boys. Like when I think of Backstreet Boys, like I only really like the danceable songs. I'm not like into their ballads and shit like that. Number 2 is more of like a hip hop song that you never hear out. But like I said, when I'm at home, I do shit, and when I'm like Heavy Metal Kings by Jedi Mind Tricks, that one is always that's my number 2.
Is that like a DJ?
It's like, well, there's a DJ in the group. It's like, 2 MCs and a DJ. Feel So Good by Sonique is my number 3.
Yes.
You're like my age, so you gotta remember that shit.
That was my first intro to like UK music. And I was like, ooh, the UK. And then I discovered like Stromae and
good.
like Craig David. Anyways, but yeah, I love Sonique. I wish they had more songs.
Yeah, they're just kind of like, there's so many artists from those days, I guess early 2000s, that just were around briefly. Shook Ones Part 2.
Yes.
Like how does that not make you move when you just hear when it starts? It's just kind of like, it's almost impossible not to move.
Yes.
And roots rock reggae is my number 5.
And is that,
It's like, it's probably...
Is that a song?
Yeah, by Bob Marley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably my favorite Bob Marley song. Yeah.
No,
I don't know, but I mean, there's some
Soldier.
others. I could get into, I don't know, some Justin Timberlake. He did a song for Trolls. I don't even remember what, Can't Stop the Feeling or something like that.
That's Justin Timberlake.
Well, who did I say?
Justin Bieber.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely don't have any Bieber songs that I like, to be honest. But yeah, Timberlake.
Yeah.
Can't Stop the Feeling is an honorable mention, I feel like.
Yes, for sure. Okay. My turn. I really like Together Again by Janet Jackson. I like Spanish songs. One that will always get people on the floor is like Danza Kuduro, which is Don Omar in some like Portuguese artist. I can't remember his name, but who else? Single Ladies by Beyonce, or Formation, which is like and
Single Ladies gets people. When that song was like peaking, I was working at a convention center and like I would do like live cooking inside like really fancy fucking weddings.
Yeah.
And like they would always play that song at every wedding. And people
still
just
do.
went nuts. Yeah, I imagine. It's like it's a good wedding
It
song.
was a moment in time. Yeah, so that song. And then I like what was I listening to on the way here? I can't even remember right now because of that guy on the bus. But
Are you that person that do you don't drive?
I used to, but
You take the bus a lot though.
Yeah.
Do you like vibe out with your headphones and
if
dance
I
around
forget my
sometimes?
headphones, I'm having a bad time. Like, if your life doesn't have a soundtrack, you're a loser. Like, there should be music playing in the background at all times.
For sure. But I'm the kind of guy 6 a.m. waiting for my bus to work, and I got some music on my headphones, and I'm like,
yeah, I have when I used to drive, I would play a specific playlist into work with the timing, and the pump up jam right before I would get in.
Oh, they got it good.
But yeah,
I don't plan it that well. That's nice.
Britney Spears, Toxic. Wanna taste of it? Okay, and then top song to dance to. I don't know, whatever TikTok crave is happening. I feel like
what was that big song that was when the guy was on the little skateboard, the Fleetwood Mac song?
Oh,
I can't remember what it's called.
Dreams?
Maybe.
But yeah, I like Creedence Clearwater for sure. Shout out Brian Williams. Celine Dion for sure. I like to.
Really, eh?
There were nights when the wind was so cold. Have
Hey,
you ever heard her French stuff?
No.
It's so much more passionate because I don't know what they're saying.
I'm French too, and I don't know any French.
You don't speak French?
No. When I go to Quebec, I just try to
You're like, oui.
show them my ID. Look, it's an EAU at the end of my last name. I'm one of you. But I don't know shit. I should. Robin Williams movies.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to start? You want me to go?
I feel like I don't know that many, so I'll listen to you first.
Okay. I fucking Wikipedia these things. Mrs. Doubtfire. It's my number one for sure.
For sure.
I like a lot of his movies, but I only have a few. Aladdin. I kind of forgot about him being,
the genie.
Yeah, but I mean, that movie is one of my favorite Disney movies. It's got to be up there. Number 3, Jack.
It's when he's at
That's a sad movie. That could get you there.
Mentally disabled adult.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he thinks he's a kid and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 1 Hour Photo, which is a pretty...
He's the stalker
off-brand
film.
movie.
Yeah, he's I'm serious. I'm nope.
You didn't like it?
Well, I liked it for what it was, but I didn't like it as a Robin Williams film.
Oh, okay.
When Steve Carell did Little Miss Sunshine, I was like, what is this? What am I gonna laugh?
Oh, see, I'm I actually
you like
really
to see
like...
range?
It's not like I'm oh, you gotta be deep, man. You gotta have range. It's not like that. I just like seeing people, I like seeing comedians put in those more dramatic situations. So, and don't get me wrong, not everyone nails it, but there's some good Jim Carrey ones. Even Adam Sandler, I think, has one.
Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Funny People is the Adam Sandler one.
And who else? Will Ferrell has one too that I think is... I can't even remember what it's called right now, but he's basically a recovering alcoholic. And his wife kicks him out, and he's living on the lawn, and his sponsor.
I remember that.
You end up finding out his sponsor's sleeping with his wife, and it's just crazy. I just loved it though, because it's but like I said, it doesn't all. Even those actors have Bewitched. Will Ferrell tried to do that. Sometimes it's not always done right, but when it is, I do like it.
For sure.
And then Jumanji. I have a
Jumanji.
Spot in my heart for that movie because I went to see it with my Nana in theaters.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That must have been nice to experience on a big screen.
Yeah.
I was actually scared of that movie at first. I was is this
real?
gonna happen? Okay, my favorite, of course, Mrs. Doubtfire. There's the Dead Poet Society.
That's a great one, yeah.
There's I don't know, help me.
What else he's in? Good Will Hunting. He's in Flubber. He's in Patch Adams.
I like Patch Adams, where he's a doctor.
Hmm.
And then also the ones you mentioned, which are Aladdin for sure. Who's like, who says that? Somebody stop me. Jim Carrey in The Mask. So I like that Robin Williams movie.
It's a great one though.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Comedians? Is Robin Williams one of your favorite comedians too?
I don't think he had like stand-up specials, but he had like performances, right? Have you ever seen him perform?
I feel like he does. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not like in real life, but I think I've seen. Yeah. I think he does have like a couple specials.
Yeah.
I can't think of names or anything right now. But...
The only one in my mind right now is like he's performing on stage. It's like huge. There's one stool and he's got like 18 bottles of water. And like he's doing this thing where he like drinks from one and then drinks from another one. But it's like 3 hours of him performing. And I would say that was a more memorable thing only because I can't tell you any more about it. And then like Tiffany Haddish, Kevin Hart, and Chris Rock, his what was that special where he like drops the mic at the end? He's like, the difference between black people and, you know.
Chris Rock?
Yeah.
I don't even Kill the Messenger. Is that the one? I don't even know the name. That's the only one I know the name of. So, it's like,
but yeah,
might as well try it out.
Yeah, I like Todd Graham.
Todd Graham is funny. He was at man, and you didn't do the photographer for the last show, but he was the headliner, and like it was a pretty rough crowd that night. I'm not gonna lie, man. And even for him, like I was like, I don't know if this crowd is right because he's for real hilarious. Yeah. Like he's super funny and like he wasn't getting
for real.
He wasn't for real. Like people say hilarious a lot because it's like a nice thing to say and it bigs up people, but like genuinely hilarious like Todd Graham is, and these people were not appreciating him, you know? And I was just at that point like cuz I did my set at the beginning and I mean, it didn't go great. My closer was like, it was good, so I ended on a good note. But, like, I had a bunch of newer stuff that I kind of filled the middle with. And there was one story that I'm like, I'm tossing. It's too long. I can't really... I might work on it and put it back in later. But felt really bad about it. And just the whole night, as I was, like, introducing other comedians, my anxiety level was high. And then once he performed and I saw how they were with him, I was like...
It's not,
it's not, Not necessarily saying they were, like, a bad crowd, but for what we were bringing to the table, it wasn't their cup of tea, you know?
It's a strange thing, too, when people don't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you have to break that barrier. Like, I was at a show the night before. Do you know Chad Gibson?
No. I know of the name, but I don't know who he is.
So... It was like a corporate Christmas party. There was like 10 people, and then people that were in the bar as well. And he ended up being Bullet, and he told one of the like employees to shut the fuck up and called her a cunt. And I was supposed to go up after him. And I was like, this is the beginning of the show. And even as it was happening and everyone's watching it happen, he like collects himself like 2 seconds later. He's like, I could have handled that a lot better. So like comics can have bad days, audiences can have bad days, and it's always some sort of like alchemy that happens with comedy, is like performing a magic trick that you don't know the recipe for. You're just like, oh, this is what worked last time, let me try to recreate this magic. And it's like, what do you want from me? My children? I'll give you my children. I just need your laughs.
Oh wait, are you done? Did you do your 5 comedians?
Yeah, I guess. Todd Graham.
I do really like Kevin Hart too out of your list. I mean I like all the comedians on your list, but Kevin Hart gets a lot of hate for some reason. I don't know.
It's because people call him a sellout.
But what is the sellout thing about? Is it because he's like appealing to white people?
No,
that's the vibe I get.
I think it's the more quantity rather than quality. Because, like, if you've noticed in the past, I don't know, 5 years, there's been a Kevin Hart movie.
And yeah, the movies I don't really pay too much attention to.
So I think that's what people are saying. It's like, it's an easier way to make money that doesn't really challenge your craft.
But I think, like, up until... Did you see the one that he did at his house? It's on Netflix.
The fatherhood one?
I'm not sure what... No, that was actually the movie.
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
I haven't watched it yet. I started the beginning.
But he did, like, a special over COVID that was, like, filmed in his place.
Yeah.
And for me, it was his only bad special to date. It has been his only bad special. Yeah. So I think as far as stand-up comedy goes, he's been pretty consistent. But I see him get a lot of hate. My number one's Joe Rogan. I think he gets a lot of hate as well for some, I don't know. I think it's mostly his podcasts and other opinions, but his stand-up, like, I'm looking at it strictly from that. Yeah, love him. Chappelle's my number 2. Mark Forward, it's my number 3. He's from Oakville. He's like more of a local guy. Isn't he Canadian? Yeah. Yeah, he has. Here's the thing. So I'm going to see him in December. His show is on the Saturday. My show's on the Friday. I was like, maybe I should just leave something in the green room and then walk in and be like, oh, hey, want to come on my show? Because, like, I'm for real. Like, I've sent out messages.
Why don't you just show up that day?
Well, I'm going to be at his show anyway. I already bought tickets.
Oh, so just walk into the green room.
He's one of my guys. So I'm just thinking I really would like to get him on mine. It would be, for real, like a dream. Like, top 3 comedians for me. Yeah. So it would be such an honor to have him.
Yeah, man, just do it. Walk into
You think so, eh?
Just say, I'm the producer of this show.
Yeah.
And I'm here to see you, and I'd love for you to, I don't know, do you have a card? Do you have a thing? Leave him with something, for sure.
Well, the thing is, like, he already knows me. He knew me before I was in comedy because I've been a fan of his for, like, fucking over 10 years. I've only been doing comedy for, like, over 3.
Right.
You know? So
then it's a shoo-in.
Yeah. I feel like if I approach him...
You've got it.
Maybe.
I'm sending you the
vibes. Thank you.
Mark Forward. You got this.
Do you meditate? Do you do that shit?
I try. I definitely... The thing I say to myself is, let go, let God. And it's sort of just like... Anxiety is about control, I feel. For me, at least. So if I'm just like... It's out of my hands. Like, I've already done the thing. I don't need to worry about having done the thing.
That's fair.
You're like, okay, I've decided I'm going to invite him. Don't worry about it until the day you're there. And then, like, have that, like, anxiety right before and right after. And then you're groovy.
What was that? Number 4 is George Carlin. Just because I think he was probably my introduction to stand-up comedy, I want to say.
Yeah.
Or him or like Rodney Dangerfield, but Rodney doesn't really make the cut. There's just so many good ones, but he's definitely a legend. I guess Bill Burr would be my number 5.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I didn't say Ali Wong, but Ali Wong really like broke through that ceiling for me where I was like, I don't see myself represented in comedy.
Yeah.
And she's on stage fully pregnant and doesn't acknowledge it till halfway through her special. And it made me feel like honestly, I did shrooms to watch it because I was like, I want something to happen. And it was in that moment that I was like, oh, I could just be funny without talking about being depressed or being a single mom or going to rehab. But I have to acknowledge that in other places in my life so it doesn't come out on stage where I'm like sad and slutty. That's not my brand.
She is
powerful.
Really powerful, yes. It reminds me of fucking Cool Runnings, like, I see pride, I see power. Sometimes literally have to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's alright, it's okay.
My friends do power poses. They're like, power pose.
Oh, for real, eh?
And then your body's like, I guess we're a boss.
Are you big on traveling? Have you traveled a lot in your life?
I used to travel a lot to a few places, like El Salvador, where I was born. I've basically been back every year since I've lived in Canada. I've taken my son since he was born. And in LA, California, we have family as well. So that's like another highly traveled to place. And then other than that, just like all inclusive vacations to the Caribbean. I'm
I
not
haven't
very
really
like,
been out of North America.
yeah.
Yeah. I think I went to the States once when I was younger. Well, I did go to the States once when I was younger. But I don't know, it was just briefly inside. I think it was like Buffalo. And then quickly
like,
back.
I'm in the States.
I don't know. It wasn't really anything because I was young, you know. I wanna travel. I haven't really been anywhere outside of
What is
Canada.
your dream destination?
Okay, so who knows? Might happen. Space is my number one.
Well, yeah.
I'm just being real. Like,
Okay.
if there's anywhere I, like, for sure I want to go. And prove that the Earth is flat.
Perfect.
No, I don't believe that shit. But something about these flat earthers is very intriguing. Like, I enjoy hearing their arguments. Some of them are fucking, you're like, all right, you're batshit crazy, buddy, but keep, go with it.
I watched this thing where they were infighting, like flat earthers were infighting about how flat, how the concept of how flat it was, whether it was like this or
Okay.
that. And the fact is, there are like very intelligent, powerful people who believe this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there has to be another reason other than like science. It's like a control thing. It's like a lot of people say it's like, I don't want to feel like we're insignificant. And I'm like, I get that. And that's why people dig religion, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're going to go to space.
Fuck, I would love to. Australia, number 2.
Close enough to space. Okay.
And like, for real, like sometimes like these, like a lot of these things could change. Like tomorrow I could see a picture of a place and be like, I fucking need to go there.
Yeah.
But Hawaii has made my list. Like I want to fucking see a volcano.
For
in real
sure.
life.
El
Like, that'd be
Salvador
cool.
is the land of volcanoes, actually.
For real, eh?
Yeah. So I've seen volcanic ash or like volcanic rock.
Like the lava.
So basically, a long time ago, the volcano erupted and all the lava came, and it was like so thick and hot that they couldn't move it or do anything with it, and now it's just volcanic rock, like on the sides of the highway and stuff. But yeah,
And
yeah,
nothing
do it.
grows over it, I guess, eh?
No, it's just like
Yeah.
rock.
What else? Iceland.
These are all very contrasting places.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Iceland just seems like such a beautiful... Granted, I think it's the only place on my list that's cold. But,
Yeah.
like, it just looks so nice. I feel like I got it.
But they have like hot springs.
Do
It's
they?
a luxury vacation.
Yeah. I mean, looks pretty luxurious to me, the photos that I've seen. But, I mean, I guess that's their game plan. Me and my lady were planning on going on, like, a trip just before, like, the Christmas of, I guess, last year. And, COVID happened at the beginning of the year, so that kind of got scrapped. And maybe next year, It's
That's
obviously not
nice.
happening this year. But in Jamaica, like, I had a real chance of going to Jamaica when I was in my foster home because, like, all my most of them were from Jamaica. One was from Trinidad. And so I guess one year, my brother just wanted to kind of, like, take me. And my social worker wouldn't let it happen.
Bitch.
So it was like right there, but I definitely wanna go there. It seems like such a beautiful place, and I like just the culture and stuff like that.
It's definitely one of the more contrasting. Like on the drive in from the airport, it's very like poverty stricken, and there's a lot of like whatever. But when you're in the resort, it's like you get. Not that you get offered weed right away. It's like the hotel staff will, like let you know that there's additional services being offered. And when I went to Jamaica, there was a lot of tourists that were leaving that had accumulated so much weed that they couldn't sell or couldn't consume and didn't want to sell. So we just got free weed from like tourists that were on their way out. And it was a good time, but I feel like at that stage in my life, I didn't really enjoy what it had to offer. Like, I was just, like, in for a good time and exploiting whatever, like, my youth would allow me. But it was, yeah, it's kind of one of the places where I would definitely go back and maybe even take, like, other people, like my parents or, like a significant other, my kid. Their weather and beaches are amazing. Yeah. Do you go through these?
Did you do yours?
Travel destination.
Bless you.
Excuse me. No, I told you about El Salvador and LA, but I've been to Jamaica, and where I would love to go is like somewhere that's like Thailand or like Japan or Korea. That's like very distinct culture, but also has like a city center. Because as much as I like gardening, I'm like a city girl to the core. Like, I'm like, what's camping?
Yeah, I'm not a big camper either.
It's like when you didn't grow up with a real home, it's like, why would you want to
Yeah,
go
like
camping?
I'm doing. No, totally. Yeah, this one might be hard for you. I feel like this is the one that I ask every guest.
Okay.
Superheroes.
Do
you have 5?
I would say I like Spider-Man is like a concept of a superhero because he's young. I like young superheroes. And then like the Powerpuff Girls. I think that their powers are like whatever. And like, is there a witch superhero?
Yeah, the Scarlet Witch or like Enchantress. There's a couple. I'm sure there's more. I don't know like everything, but
yeah, I remember in elementary school where people were like, "Who's your hero?" And people are like,
Sabrina.
Yeah, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. There you go. See all these young, powerful. But yeah, people. Our teacher was like, "Who's your superhero?" And people were like, "My mom." And I was like, like I don't respect that for myself. But I wrote anyone who has like the conviction to like step up for themselves and stuff. At like 10 years old, I wrote this. So yes, I didn't grow up with a lot of good role models, or maybe for like, I read comics. I read like Archie and Betty and Veronica. So
yeah, those were good. I don't really like. Do you watch Riverdale?
I started watching it until I was like, I'm watching young, like, teenagers have sex. Like, this feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, it wasn't. I was like, it'd be fine. Like, it'd be fine if you guys were actually doing like some Archie and Joe. Like, I want to see some silly shit. I don't like. It's just too far from what the original product. Call it something else. It's like if you're out somewhere, you're like, oh, I'm getting. I want a stew. All right, yeah. So you want a stew and you just get a soup and you're like, all right, well, this is good, but it's a soup. I thought I was getting a stew, you know, and that's kind of how I feel about Riverdale. Like, you're not really like Archie in that.
In the very beginning, they were trying to stay true to the characters, but it really was just like, so you know that Dylan from like 90210 was Archie's dad? And he ended up dying. Anyways, a lot of the actors or a lot of the shows at that time where it happened, it was literally like appealing to our nostalgia. So like, yes, that guy from 90210 is the actor. Riverdale is like a concept that we grew up with, but it also has to attract like a new audience. And what the kids are watching is like fucking wet ass pussy on TV, and it's not appealing to be like, oh, Archie's a redhead. Like, that's the quirkiest thing about him. Like,
yeah,
Betty's in love with her best friend's boyfriend. Like, we can't see that anymore.
And they're doing Fresh Prince of Bel-Air now, you know?
What?
Yeah, it's going to be more of a drama. Will Smith's involved. Like, his production company is doing it. And, like, it happened because someone had made a cut of, like, actual Fresh Prince of Bel-Air video and turned it into something that added a little bit of music and like turned it into, like, a drama. And then Will Smith saw it and was like, we should do this. And so now they're doing it. It's called, like, just Bel-Air. And I'm like, I don't know. As someone who's like, Fresh Prince is my favorite show of all time.
Yeah.
And there's certain things I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm a fan of the idea of a new generation getting familiar with, certain things, but...
It taints your memory.
Mm-hmm. You see the new Home Alone? There's a new Home Alone, too.
Home Sweet Home Alone? Mm-hmm. We just rented Home Alone on TV over the weekend. Because it's such a, we were putting up the tree and blah, blah, blah. It's such a, thing. But Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, by far, is, the most epic of its time film. Even in the way that, Home Alone 1 created new, norms for videography and having that second cam and, where they filmed and... They flooded the friggin' pool.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about fucking, how they actually filmed it, yeah.
All of that stuff was not happening before then. And so, now that they have all this, technology, it's you're not actually making anything better. You're just dumbing it down. Even the way that villains are written are based on these archetypes of, the wet bandits and stuff like that. So, yeah, you can't recreate greatness. You just, there has to be some new shit. No more things. What is this game?
Okay, so...
surprises.
Yeah, I like to end every episode with these cards. And, you read one to me, I'll read one to you, and sometimes they lead to stories, sometimes it's just a simple, no or yes answer, Sometimes they can be dirty, sometimes they're just,
it's just
whatever.
A prompt.
Okay, this one's decent. Would you rather have sex with one of your parents' best friends than smell like a bag of urine for a month?
Yeah. I'd have sex with my parents.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I don't know any of my parents' best friends.
Oh, okay. I was like, you don't know if you would rather smell like a bag of urine?
But it's am I just staying home? Maybe no one has to know that I smell like urine.
Okay, I know this is awful, but I actually knew people that either had a pee bag or wore diapers because of disability issues, right? Mm-hmm. And so that smell cannot be masked. I know, I've tried, and my dad is a personal support worker, and he sometimes has to take his clients grocery shopping, so his front seat smells like a bag of urine. Which I just assume is old people smell before, but now I know it's urine.
Same thing.
Same bad difference. Okay. Oh my god. Would you date someone just because they have a nice car?
I mean, no.
Okay, so I just actually stopped talking to someone. Not because they have a nice car, and not because they have their own condo, and they have a high-paying job, and are respectful to me, but because they asked if we could, work towards a relationship, and then as soon as that was established, they started distancing themselves. And I was like, seems like a trap. You want me to commit, and then, you're gonna take the step back? So, I will break up with you if you have unclear communication. I won't date you just for a car. I mean, my son's father, I didn't date him for his dick, so we still had a kid together.
No, but that communication, for sure, might be cliche to say, but...
I'd rather someone have a good communication style than a nice car.
I met my girlfriend on Tinder, and I've never been on it, hated it, I'm still unsure how I feel about it, but I'm leaning a little more towards, hey, it can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Because I was working with two people that were in relationship. One's engaged.
From Tinder?
With someone he met from Tinder. And my other buddy has been in a relationship for 4 or 5 years with someone he met on Tinder. And I was working with both of them, and they were just I had been single for maybe a year. And they're just dude, just do it. It's all this. And Bob's man, I'm just not... If I wanted to just fuck, I could do that. I don't need an app to do that. You know what I mean? For real, though. And they're just like, no, like, we met our people. And so I, like, signed up, and she was the first one, like, I matched with, and first one I talked to, and we, like, communicated through, like, calls, and I felt like I was going somewhere with this story, but now I lost my sense of direction.
There was good communication.
Yes! Thank you. Okay, and so, like, the whole thing, like, I just set it out straight, like, in my like, a lot of people, it's about, like, oh, not looking for anything serious and this kind of shit, and I was like, just a guy looking for his person. That was my profile, and, like, a bunch of pictures.
Yeah.
And, we've been together for over 2 years, and fuck, man.
Well,
so communication. Just communicate about what you want.
Good experiences on Tinder, and I've also had bad experiences on Tinder, but I also feel like as I evolve as a person, my experiences change. Like the first comedy producer guy, I met him on Tinder, and I feel like here's my sentiment. My propaganda is that I'm gonna get him back. So this guy, I was calling him Rebound Ryan, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a clear sign that I don't want to be in a relationship with you. But it is hard. People play games because they aren't honest with themselves. And I'm glad that you were able to find someone who's like at that level right away without being like, literally told this guy, friends with benefits. He's like, cool. 2 weeks later, he's like, I'm catching feelings for you. This might get more serious. I was like, that's fine. We haven't even had sex yet. Like, whatever. And then afterwards, he was like, okay, I want us to be in a relationship and blah, blah, this and that. And I was like, cool. Are you going to ask me out? Are we going to go on a date? Are you going to invite me over to your place? Do you want to call me before you go to bed? None of those things were happening, but he expected it to just, like, occur. And when I communicated that to him, he's like, you got to give me some time. And I'm like, give you some time. You're the one that brought this.
This
it's
was
like, when you bring an offer to the table, the assumption is that you have an offer.
What are we doing here, Brad?
Yeah, I was like, I don't get anything that I want, but you get me? Like, how's that fair? Bruh. I did take him to a lot of comedy shows.
You did? Would you rather lose the ability to taste food than the feeling of having sex?
What? Would I lose the ability to taste food or the ability to have or feel what sex feels like?
Yeah, I mean, this is a dumb card.
I mean, like, would I rather be able to taste food than feel good during sex, or feel good during sex and not taste food?
So I think it's like, you either can taste your food or you can feel sex. One of them has to go.
I would say taste food because I do that a lot more than I have sex.
Oh, wow. Wow. I'm going to go the opposite because I feel like I've been sick before and I've been able to not taste my food. And
I already have like a bad palate.
All right, do one more. We'll get out of here.
Okay. This is funny. Okay, I'm just going to... This one. Bad choices. Yeah, both of them are bad choices. Is that what it... Oh my god. Yes. Have you ever had sex with someone 10 years older than you?
No. But I mean, like...
You could.
There's some really there's some hot older women, And I feel like it just kind of came with age at some point. But I mean, like... with technology and plastic surgery and Botox, it's like you have 60-year-olds looking like 30-year-olds.
Yeah, my ex is 8 years older than me. And I think that's what was like a pro and a con, because he had gone through all this like midlife stuff and being like, you're going to survive, like, sweetie. And then also it bothered me because I'm like, you're already preparing to die. I was like, I want to have children. And I ended up actually sleeping with someone 10 years older than me accidentally. I think I was in my later 20s with the DJ from the Painted Lady on Ossington. His name is Salazar. And I was at his place. And his daughter came over and she was older than me. And she was like, who the heck is this? No, he asked me to leave before she got there so she wouldn't be like, who the heck is this? And I was like, oh my God, Sal. Yeah, that was a one-time thing, though. But yeah, when I first downloaded Tinder, I had this, like, evil thing where I was like, I'm gonna date guys that resemble all the exes that wronged me and break their hearts. And I did. Like, literally, like, oh, you look like, you know, so-and-so. I'm like, hey, do you want to go out? So, I'm good now. Guys, I fucked the trauma out of my system. If you're single, call me. Paul's got good references.
Yeah, I guess on that note, you can let these people know where to get at you.
Yes, please follow me on Instagram at MakeMeLaughTO. That's my professional photography account. And then if you want to hear about, you know, some more of the bad things or good things that are going on with my life, I'm at Honest Work Media because I keep it real and you can always see me cry in my videos. Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Paul. This has been such a great time.
Like always, this podcast is brought to you by Neon Light District. Hit them up. Use code PillowTalk to save 10%. And by The Great North Apparel. Hit them up. Use code PillowTalk to save 30%. What? And go grab your tickets to the monthly show. We'll see you in 2 weeks, guys.
Peace.
Peace the fuck out.